Welcome. Tonight we're talking about 5 different things that people who are fit, who are over 40, are doing with their nutrition that you may not be doing. Bodies change. So do some of the things we need to do, and that's what I'm going to share with you tonight is the 5 key things. My name is CJ Johnson. My passion is helping people over the age of 40 to look and feel their best and age exactly the way they want to age. That led me to the creation of this Facebook page and this business, Age Well with CJ, where I get to share with you the things that have helped me, because I have gone from fat to fit. I'm way more fit now than I was back in the day, back when I was 38 years old. So, are you more fit now? If you are, put it down in the comments. Tell me, are you more fit now, or is fitness behind you? Let me know. Put down, tell me, what age was your fittest? Maybe it's right now. For me, the answer is 54. I'm most fit at 54. Awesome. Tell me, what is your most fit weight? Okay, put that down in the comments below. That's kind of the question of the day. So are you ready to go ahead and get started learning these 5 things? Give me a little thumbs up. Give me a little heart. Perfect. Okay. All right. Let's see. So, I know you probably don't believe me, or maybe you do because you've probably seen this picture, but that's what I looked like when I was 38 years old. So, I will let you be the judge. Do you think I'm more fit now, or I was more fit then? I got to tell you, I wore a size 20. That was a beautiful red Ralph Lauren suit that I bought specifically for that occasion, but it was a size 20. I was rapidly moving into a size 22. Life was out of control. And over the last 14 years, this journey, this health and wellness journey, has changed a lot for me. I've educated myself both personally as well as professionally. I'm a health and wellness coach. I'm a certified personal trainer. I'm a professional athlete, kind of all these things. But what it's done for me is it's helped me to take control of my life. And those are the things that I like to share with you. So let's go ahead and let's get into this tonight. And I want to talk about these 5 eating easy habits that you can change to begin your journey from fit to fitter, or from not so fit to a little bit more fit. Any of these, if you put them into practice, are going to help. So number 1, the first thing that we need to understand is what's changed with our bodies and why we need to change. Because I don't know about you, but as a human being, for me, change is hard. When I look at that picture, back in the day, I used to describe myself as, I'm a little on the big side. I was obese. I didn't want to change, but some things in my life happened, and I quickly realized if I didn't change what I was doing, I was going to get really hurt in some of the activities that I was doing. So you need to understand what's changing in our body, and then the 5 habits that I want to talk about. I want to talk about fats. I want to talk about protein in your diet. I want to talk about inflammation. We hear a lot about this lately, but maybe we're not so aware of how it can impact us. I want to talk about the big 3. Most of these, at least 2 out of 3, are big for people. All 3 of them are big for me. And lastly, I want to talk about fat, and you might be surprised at what I tell you about fat. And don't forget, if you weren't here for the pre-show, make sure you stick around to the end. I have a great freebie. It's a brand new one. It's some of the time-tested behaviors that have helped me to stay fit over all these years, so you definitely want to stick around and make sure you're going to get that. So let's just talk first. Let's talk about what has changed. And I know some of you are sitting back there going, everything has changed, CJ. Our bodies have definitely changed. But think of this. Life in this body is a journey. Go back into your preteen years and your teenage years and your early 20s and then into your 30s. And think about all of the changes that you have been through personally, physically, and mentally. The unfortunate part is we don't know about any of these changes until we start to go through them. We can look back now and we can talk about all those hormone changes that happened when we were teenagers, and we can maybe laugh at some of them, but they were not so damn funny when we were going through them. So our bodies are in a constant state of change. Once we hit 40, we have more hormone changes. So in women, it's not a big thing. You hear about it all the time. You hear about menopause. So in our 40s, generally, we become perimenopausal. We're getting ready to go into menopause. And then somewhere in our late 40s or into our early to mid 50s, we start to get menopausal. And what that simply means is our bodies are changing. Our hormones are changing. Our estrogen levels are dropping. And when women hit menopause, it changes dramatically. Now, men, you go through something similar too. In fact, they call it andropause is the word for it. And that has to do with the hormone more readily found. Women have it too, but not in the quantity that men do, and that's testosterone. So testosterone production changes through the years for men. Now, the big difference is, I told you, when women hit menopause, it changes like boom. Okay, off the charts. All this stuff happens to happen to our bodies, and for most of us, it happens in a pretty condensed period, like a 1 or 2 year period. For men, your change happens over a longer period of time. But for both sexes, what happens is we start to change physically. Our bodies tend to have a little bit more fat around the middle. Our sex drive changes, or lack thereof. Our muscle mass changes. Okay, we begin to have less muscle, which is why you start to see a little bit more fat in our body. And specifically, man, I trip on that word sometimes, specifically in your belly fat. And then also our sex drive changes. So there's so many things that start to change for us at this time of life. Are all those things bad? No, we need to be aware of them because there are things that we can do to help to minimize some of those changes. Now, another thing that changes for us is our metabolism. We hear a lot about metabolism, and essentially RMR, our resting metabolic rate, means how many calories do you burn when you're doing nothing? When you are being a couch potato, how many calories do you burn? Well, I just told you that as we get older, we have more belly fat and less muscle. In fact, our muscle mass decreases about 1% every year over the age of 40, especially if we aren't doing any weight training or any strength training. But our muscle mass begins to decrease. That's our metabolism, our muscle. Muscle burns more than fat. You've probably heard that multiple times. Well, muscle impacts your metabolism. So as we age, our metabolism slows down. Here's the bottom line. If we eat the same amount of food and our metabolism slows down, we're going to put on weight. You cannot get past the basic math that the body does. You are going to put on weight. Okay, so that's what's happening inside of our metabolism and our muscle mass. Well, now you want to top that off. Another thing that's changing for some of us is disease. Okay, this to me is astonishing. The average person over the age of 50 is on 3. Count them, 3 medications. Isn't that crazy? And some of that is because of disease. So disease can change our bodies very, very quickly. But those medications can also change our body. There really isn't, that I found anyway, and maybe somebody who's much more educated than I am can tell me that there is not a medication out there that doesn't have a side effect. Taking medications, at least for me personally, and I'm not a doctor, I have the discussion with my doctor and I weigh the benefits as well as the drawbacks, because every medication has a benefit as well as a drawback. And sometimes the benefit far outweighs the drawback. As an example, I'm on thyroid medication. At 47 years old, my thyroid went this way, my weight went that way. Oh, what a surprise, right? I am on a medication to keep my thyroid levels normal. Well, it's a big thing for me because when I'm not on that medication, I feel tired, I'm cranky, I put on even more weight. So being on Synthroid for me is something that I will choose to do because the benefits outweigh the downsides to that medication. So we're often on a prescription. Now, a couple of things about prescriptions. Again, you need to be aware. Be aware. I'm not saying don't take a prescription. What I am saying is be aware of what are some of the things that that prescription is going to do to your body. Number one, so be educated. Don't just take something just because the doctor prescribed it to you. Most physicians are great physicians and they are giving you what you need. But we also live in a society where if I don't feel good, I walk into a doctor and the doctor said, "Ooh, here's this pill. It's going to fix it." So make sure that you take control of your health and get yourself educated. What is it that you need? The other thing to look for is our over-the-counter drugs. As we age, we start to take more over-the-counter drugs. You got a commercial on for one of the pain relievers that says take one daily. Okay, well, take one daily to relieve pain. Are we taking those over-the-counter medications as they're prescribed? The answer is really, for most people, no. One of the biggest dangers with over-the-counter medications is we think that because they're over-the-counter, they're safe and we can take them however they are, however we want to, not how's listed on the bottle. So if you are taking over-the-counter medication, take them as prescribed. Also, too much of that is not necessarily a good thing. Again, take it when you need it. And lastly, this is a real big one. If you are on a prescription, understand how much pain reliever, over-the-counter pain reliever, is in your prescription. There is somewhere around 500. That's not 5 like this. That's 500. 500. 500. 500 different prescriptions that already contain some form of acetaminophen, which is Tylenol, or some of the NSAIDs that you find inside of ibuprofen. So if you're taking a prescription and you're taking some Tylenol or an Aleve or an ibuprofen on top of that, you may be getting a much bigger dose than you are aware of, and that can really have side effects on your body. So here's the whole thing with medication. Take responsibility. Understand the pros and cons and exactly what's inside of your medication. And then lastly, another thing that's changed, some of those bad habits of our youth have finally caught up to us, right? Eating the way we want, not getting enough sleep, exercise, smoking, drinking. All those types of things catch up to you. Here's the deal. It's not that you can't do some of those things anymore. Definitely don't recommend the smoking part. That's not a good thing, nor is drinking to excess. Those are not good things for your health. But it's not that you can't do some of those things. What's changing now as we get older is you can't do them as often. Our bodies just don't recover as much anymore. I can still do everything I used to when I was young. I just can't do it as often. I need to manage my recovery. So accept that your body has changed and that things are different. And if you just look at what's different and start managing them differently by using these solutions, which are about to come up next, you're going to start to see a difference. So I'm just going to check in, make sure, see if we have any, John, or if you've got any comments, make sure that you put them down inside of the, hello, Lynn, how are you? Miss seeing your smiling face. Lynn just went through a surgery. It's actually been a while ago. She went through a rotator cuff surgery, and she recouped really well because she does have some good habits. So she was fast-tracking it. Good to see you there, Lynn. All right, so enough about how we've changed. Let's talk about what we can do as we go forward into the future. Okay, so number one is let's talk about fads. I have a friend on Facebook. Bless her little soul. She has struggled, just like I have, struggled with weight her whole entire life. But she's yo-yoed a little bit more than I have. I've been able to maintain my weight, and she's gone up and down, up and down, up and down. And now her latest thing is keto. I'm on keto. Keto's great. I've lost X pounds on keto. Blah, 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 blah. Man, we love fad diets. I hope to God that keto is her final solution. I hope there is never another fad diet. But keto is just the latest and greatest. And if you look at this list, starting in 1925, and yes, this is the truth, it was called the cigarette diet. If you're watching this show, I know that you are old enough to remember Lucky Strike cigarettes. Lucky Strike put out an advertising campaign that said, instead of going for a sweet, grab a cigarette, because you won't put on any weight. I mean, we now know how ludicrous that is, but that was a fad diet at the time. The first one I remember out of this whole list is, I remember hearing about the grapefruit diet when I was a kid. I don't remember if somebody was on it. I remember eating some of it while I was a teenager trying to do the grapefruit thing. Definitely remember the Beverly Hills diet. That was another one. And then how about back in 2003, we got the South Beach diet, right? No carbs at all. Everything in moderation. A lot of people lost a lot of weight by eating steak and butter and all those things. I hate to know what other things happened to them. Stop it. Your body has changed, but your mind, you are old enough to know better. Stop buying into the fad diets. So that's healthy habit number one. There is no diet out there that will replace sensible eating. Okay? Long period, you want results, is sensible eating over a period of time is what's going to give you some results. So let's get into a couple other things that you'll be able to do. All right. The next thing is protein. Think protein. And sometimes as a society, we don't think about this. You know, look at our diet. We tend to start the day with some type of carbohydrates, right? Cereal, bagels, donuts, those type of things. So we start the day with some type of carbohydrate. Then at lunchtime, maybe we have a salad with a little bit of protein on it, perhaps a fairly light lunch. We don't start to eat protein really until dinner. That's when we have a piece of chicken or fish or meat or whatever it happens to be. So at most meals, we are not getting enough protein to activate the fat burning genes inside of your body. That's how it works. What you need to think about is this: 20 to 30 grams of protein at every, yes, that's right, every meal. Here are some suggestions which are on here. Are eggs. Okay, and I know that there's been controversy on and off throughout the years for eggs. Eggs in moderation, they're good for you. Fish, lean cuts of meat. There are veggies, nuts, beans, legumes, all sorts of things. Soy, I eat vegetarian. Soy, tempeh, seitan. There are all sorts of items in our diet that can help us to get 20 to 30 grams of protein inside every meal. So that's what I want you to think about when you sit down. Now, another thing that I didn't put in here that I like to use, I do use a protein powder. I was going to say boost and powder at the same time, and it came out booter. I use a protein powder. It's a protein boost that helps me to get some additional protein into my diet. It's low cal, very low glycemic, low carbohydrate. And what it does for me is during the course of the day, when maybe I'm a little hungry in between meals, I drink a shake and I feel better. So if you're not getting enough protein into your diet, look at good, healthy protein powders. And if you need some recommendations, I'm happy to make some recommendations, because just like everything, there are some real crap protein powders out there. And if you buy it just on price, if you're not sure what you're looking for, you probably are not going to get a good one. All right. So we've gotten rid of the fad diets and we're thinking healthy now. So we're thinking 20 to 30 grams of protein. The other benefit to eating protein is if you are eating protein during your meals, you are going to feel more full, more satisfied. It's when we have way too many carbohydrates, that's when we tend to not feel as satisfied. Okay? All right. So give me a little thumbs up. You with me so far? Right. Okay. Let's get into number 3. Now, these are some of the foods to avoid, and I'm going to tell you why. These tend to cause inflammation. So inflammation, I want you to think of this like a bruise. Okay, you get a bruise, and your body sends this signal. We have to go and repair this tissue, right? So it sends a signal to the rest of the body, and certain things start to happen inside of your body to fix that wound. That's what happens with different foods. It sends a signal to your body that, hey, this is going on. We need to take care of this. But unfortunately, as we keep eating those foods, that signal never goes away. So it's like having that, I have a bruise signal on for a long period of time. It tricks our body into sometimes attacking itself. So that's why I say these are things to avoid. Now, number 1 is sugar. And You're not sitting there going, oh, CJ, do I really need to avoid sugar? Of course you need to avoid sugar. But what I want to talk about is some of the places that sugar is that you may not think it is. And so here's the thing is when you are reading labels, and you should read labels, if you see anything that ends in OSE, that's, even if it doesn't say sugar, OSE is, that is the code name for sugar. If you're reading the label and you see OSE in the first 5 ingredients, because ingredients are listed in order of importance, back away from the pre-processed food. Okay? Put it down, find a different alternative. That's how you can start to do those things. And it's okay to have a sweet every once in a while, just really monitor your sweet consumption. Number 2, the next one that's in here is dairy. And I kind of went back and forth on this one because I know this is going to be a bit controversial. We're going to talk about, calcium. Yeah, okay, if you need extra calcium, there are ways to get calcium. And when I say dairy, I'm specifically saying 3 things. Soft cheeses, because they tend to be made a little differently than hard cheeses do, butter, and milk. Those are the 3 dairy items that if you have to have those things in your diet, have them in moderation. If you can eliminate some of those things from your diet, that is more healthy for you because those are foods that cause inflammation. Another one, refined flours. We are looking for whole grains. When you refine a flour, what happens to it is we take out of it the slow digesting properties that it has naturally. So when it gets into our gut, it spikes, sends it through the roof, just spikes our glycemic level, can cause spikes in blood pressure and all those types of things, but it plays havoc with our pancreas and just kind of everything that's going inside of the body. And that's why refined flours are so bad for you. So look for refined flours. And one of the ways that you can kind of identify it on labeling is if you see the word enriched, that's probably something to stay away from. Stay away from enriched. Veggie oils. So we used to fry all this stuff in veggie oil, and then word got out that, veggie oil is bad for you. So manufacturers started putting different kinds of veggie oils, safflower, canola, all those types of things into our food products. I mean, you may think, well, CJ, I don't eat a lot of veggie oil. Are you eating mayo? Are you eating sauces? Are you eating maybe some ketchups may have it in there? I mean, it can be all over the place. So we have this abundance of veggie oils inside of our diets. Again, turn around, read a label. You're going to be really surprised at some of the things that are in there. So again, just making conscious choices. What we really want are healthy oils, and I'm going to talk a little bit about that in just a couple minutes. We're going to look for healthy oils instead of those veggie oils. And then lastly, artificial sweeteners. If you know me, you know how much I hate aspartame. Hate aspartame. One of the worst substances out there for you. And it is all over the place. Chances are, if you are eating a light yogurt, you are eating aspartame. If you're drinking diet soda, you're drinking aspartame. This is one of those things that long term seems to have a lot of side effects, seems to cause a lot of autoimmune diseases. And I know there's people who say, the science and the research doesn't back that. Well, here's the bottom line. We're fatter and we're sicker than we have ever been. What do we all have in common as a nation? It's our food supply. Something is going on inside of our food supply. So there are some artificial sweeteners that are a little bit better for you than others. Those happen to be sugar alcohols. So do some research. In fact, I will put a link down below. There's a great article on the best and the worst artificial sweeteners. But try and add a few of those into your diet. Most people still like stevia. And when I say most people, most nutritionists, dietitians, doctors, those types of things, most people still like stevia. But again, in moderation, because that's something that can cause inflammation. So now we've gone through the fads. We have talked about getting protein in your diet. We've talked about some food to avoid. Now we need to move on to the big 3. And I got to tell you, these are always big for me. Okay, big 3. Chocolate, coffee, alcohol. Moderate them. Chocolate's got the sugar, coffee's got the caffeine, alcohol has all sorts of things in them. If you are going to have these as part of your diet, moderate them. They can have impacts on your sleep, on your hormones, on your gut bacteria, on a whole variety of things. So if you're going to do these things, do them in moderation. Okay? So think of the big three. Moderation, what I mean by that, 1, maybe 2 times a week. And when you eat a piece of chocolate, not the whole chocolate bar. But one of the things I love, I buy the Ghirardelli chocolates. I have those in the house. I hide them. I make John give them to me one at a time. That way, when I really want something, I can have one little piece of chocolate. Because I know CJ, if I buy the whole candy bar, CJ is going to eat the whole candy bar. The other rule I have with some of those things is I don't bring some of that into the house. If I bring sugar, sweets, chocolate into the house, I am going to eat more of it than I would if I just get something sweet while I am out of the house. So moderate the big three. And then lastly, forget your fear. This is all about fat. The sugar industry told us a lie 20 plus years ago. They said it is fat that's making you fat. Stay away from fats. And we came up with all these things like Olean, which was Olestra, one of like the worst things known to man. Thank God they took that off the market. But we came up with all these things to combat the unhealthy thing that fat does to it. The bottom line is this, is your body needs some of those fats to balance all of those hormones and all those processes and everything that's happening inside of your body. And you're going to get those healthy fats from things like fish, from the olive oils. Remember we talked just a little bit about veggie oils just a few minutes ago? Substitute olive oils with that. Olives, nuts, avocados, great source of fat. And I got to tell you right now, avocados are just so inexpensive. I'm making tons of things to put on salads and eat and things like that. And I got to tell you, when I put an avocado on a salad, even just a half an avocado on a salad, I feel so much more full and satisfied from that salad than I would if I just ate it the way it was. So look for opportunities to put healthy fats, those are non-saturated fats, to put healthy fats into your diet. So start thinking olive oils, avocados, nuts, those types of things. Okay? So those are the 5 things. Those are the things that we want to do. You know your body has changed. It's different. Don't think, oh my God, there's something. Now, if there's something wrong with you, run to the doctor. But hey, the body has changed, right? Your body is different. Accept that it's just different, and you're going to need to come up with some different habits if you want to stay healthy and fit. Forget about the fads. Add 20 to 30 grams of protein to each and every meal. Cut down on those inflammatory foods. Big 3, moderate, moderate, moderate. And hey, put some fat in your diet because it is good for you. Remember at the beginning, I promised you if you stuck around to the end that I had a brand new freebie for you. And I do. As we've been on this Whole Life Challenge, which has been this great program that is helping a group of us to modify and change our habits. I've been thinking about the habits that have helped me to keep this weight off for now 14 years. And that's why I came up with the 25 tricks to staying fit without feeling overwhelmed. You can get it at agewellwithcj.com/25 tricks. These are my best, and inside of there is also an action plan. So if you come on back next week, we're going to talk about, oh my goodness, that's the one thing I didn't have in my notes. Okay, so CJ has to go down, take a look at her notes to tell you what we're going to talk about next Tuesday. That is so funny. We are going to be talking about, oh my goodness, we're going to be talking about water and hydration and what it does for your body and how to get more of it. Who doesn't think, God, I need more water? We need to do that. So anyway, back here next Tuesday, 6 p.m. Until then, together we can train smart, live bold, and age well. Good night, everybody.